we come to the main event, Santana and Moxley, an eye for an eye. Moxley's entrance through the building gets him into it. I will say that. And help me out. I heard JR call him the Hellraiser. Have they called him that before?
If they have, I've missed it.
That is perfect. The Hellraiser, Jon Moxley. And then I think Excalibur, fucking under his fucking fat-headed mask, is somehow he's an innovator of violence or a methodology of violence or whatever the fuck it was. No. They found it. The Hellraiser, Jon Moxley. That fits. It's perfect. I can see the shirts, whatever the fuck. If they are not copywriting that, they should. They immediately tackle each other, fight in the crowd, back to behind ringside, back to ringside in the ring. It was a good fight. It was. I don't know, once again, what the fuck. I saw it earlier. Paige was doing it. The head palm whips into the ropes. They're just all doing it now. It's fucking insane. But this was an okay fight, but nothing was going to follow MJF and Jungle Boy right after. And then it just got at the end of it. By the end, they did a spot where Moxley he goes to roll Santana up. But he as he comes off, he rolls through the roll up and stood up straight and waited for Santana to do a backward roll and jumped up and gave him a fucking diamond cutter. And I just kind of started zoning out because they did back and forth and whatever the fuck. And then Ortiz spit booze in Moxley's eye and both were blind and they stumbled into each other where Moxley laid his hands on him and hit his finish, but he was still blind. So here comes the heels. Well, what'd you think about the match, first of all? It was there. It wasn't offensive or nothing, but some of it got sloppy, but they couldn't follow the other one.
Thought it was all right. I think Santana's obviously the more talented one in that tag team, because I thought Ortiz was pretty sloppy several times that I've watched him. Santana won me over with his promos, and it made me care about him in the ring. With Moxley, I love his entrance. I think his promos are really good. The fans are obviously really into him. But for me, I'm not as crazy about his in-ring work as I kind of want to be.
He's one of those guys. I was about to say he's one of those guys that a lot of people want to see his work being better than what it is, possibly.
Maybe. And, maybe I'm not being fair. I mean, I've seen a lot of his stuff. Maybe I am being fair. Think about it. But I don't know. To me, there's something psychologically missing with his matches. And I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. In terms of them going back and forth, that's just, unfortunately, that's wrestling. You have 50-50 booking and 50-50 matches. And no one can just dominate for an entire match. I thought it was all right. I mean, I was waiting for the Jericho and Inner Circle run-in, which I knew would happen.
Yeah, well, and there used to be an old saying in the territories. You were doing too many run-ins when there was guys were getting heat in the fucking ring, right? Boom, boom, boom. The heels are beating the shit out of the baby faces. And instead of watching that and being mad at that, the people are starting to look to the entrance. That's when in the buildings, in the old days, that's when you know that you'd been doing too many run-ins in your territory.
That's what happened to Dusty.
Yeah. Yeah. But in this case here, so the match was all right, whatever. But then once Moxley wins, here come the heels, and they just kicked the shit out of fucking Moxley. There were no referees coming out. There was no baby faces coming out. Nobody was playing King of the Hill where they're trying to get in the ring, and the heels are, because there's 5 heels in Inner Circle, right? Even though fucking Santana's selling he's blind, there's 4, including big old Hager. There was no chaos and danger and people trying to stop this assault from happening. It got to beating a dead horse level where they were just beating on Moxley. And then here comes Jeff Cobb, who was announced for next week, the bounty hunter for Jericho, but now he's here and he comes in and hits that fucking cool spinning power slam on Moxley, who's just had the shit kicked out of him further, and he's already blind. I don't understand. All of these things, any of these things individually could have been good, but all of these things together, you announce a guy's going to be here next week, So you get people thinking about him and in the mind that he's coming, but you don't say he's here tonight. So then when he comes out, it's a surprise, but it would have been an even bigger surprise had we not known that Jeff Cobb was coming at all if they were going to do it this way. And if he's the bounty hunter and the guy that's going to lay waste to all these people and travels the world beating the fuck out of people for money, why did he come down? Why did they debut him when the guy had already had the shit kicked out of him? He was laying flat on his back and he has to pick up a dead body and power slam it. What about if the heels had hit when Moxley had won and he was kind of hanging a little bit and, ducking and dodging and sticking and moving, and then Cobb comes and makes a difference? Or the fucking heels beat him down and the fucking baby faces save, and then Cobb comes down and lays waste to some baby faces? Or what about if they just held him off till next week? And now, my God, we've already fucked Moxley up, and now Cobb's coming in to finish him off. But why bring a guy down to literally beat a dead body? I don't understand.
I agree. And I kept thinking, you know what? There's natural, even though Moxley's kind of a loner there. Dustin called out Hager earlier, so there's a natural thing where Dustin could run in. We know that Darby Allin hates Sammy. If Darby was there, and I guess, he wasn't supposed to be because he sent in that video.
But anybody.
No one ever does that. No one
security,
saves anyone.
Atlas security, a referee, somebody in the back that just said, God damn it, this is unfair.
No one saves anyone on any show. It's bizarre.
And you don't always have to save, but you've always got to try to save. Sometimes people can't be saved, but there should be someone trying to save. If you're watching someone commit a crime, it adds to the fucking excitement and intensity of same if there are police or somebody trying to stop them. Elsewise, a bank robbery is boring to watch when nobody's putting up any resistance. It's a boring fucking thing to watch. Unless it's Patty Hearst, pretty much it's boring. But goddamn it, a couple people figured, fuck you, you ain't leaving with that money. Now we got us a horse race. It's the same thing here. If you're committing a crime that nobody's trying to stop, it's a boring fucking crime.